I need a refresher. I might read the transcript before and see where we're at. Oh, I meant to look this up because I wasn't sure what to do with this. We pressed on each one of these. Thank God for game facts. Okay, we are in trial part 2, I think. Yep. Okay, what he did say something, hold on.
Hold it!
Boom. Yeah, I thought this was important. That's it? That's full extent of their testimony? What is it, Bruno? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired. Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh. But I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something important. Okay, I already said that, though. No proof. Okay, I did get this hint before. Where was the one where Gregson reacted? Hold on.
Hold it!
Let me press solve it first.
Hold it!
Hmm.
Hold it!
Can't I not present the door? Don't know what proves that though. never actually encountered Mr. Windibank. Okay.
Hold it!
I'm still confused.
Objection!
So you're saying that on a night in question, the victim, Mr. Windavink, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? That's it, Gov. You got the picture. I thought I did this already. Inash has. No question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windavink was not holding a firearm of any description. Oh my god. Okay, I was overthinking it. You would? Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
Objection!
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Windabank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as a murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hand. Oh my god, I was overthinking. Yeah, that wall tooler used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun! Bam! Kinda thing.
Hold it!
Stay exactly where you are, right there. Eh? If the crime had taken place as you so colorfully described in your testimony, it would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out. Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend, but let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where's the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments? Let me see. Single bullet wound, upper half. The bullet entered the body from the back. Okay, here it is. Here we fucking go.
Take that!
According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of, "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe. Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. I forgot he's on the box. But it's a god honest truth. It is, Nash, it is. When he was shot that night, shopkeeper had a gun in his hand. We saw it with our own bleeding eyes. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Windabank holding a gun. Somewhat like that. Might have slipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question they actually saw with their own eyes the victim wielding a gun, which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash, Ordar! Witnesses, explain yourselves at once. Well, the thing is, you weren't supposed to, It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you. Am I to understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies? What colorful language. Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, Cut it out, Nash, cut it out. If we blab now, you know what it'll do with us. He? Who are they talking about? Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Bruv, come on, the game's up. But you'll have our guts for garters. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place. Well, do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Bitches, they weren't even telling the truth! Alright, so we just got inside the gaff and needed a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Okay. Give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it. For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it through that door to the back room. We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. So you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop. Well, yeah, sorry. Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time, Nash, we ain't got nothing more to hide. Very well, counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. Good lord. Okay.
Hold it!
When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windibank? Who else? Sorry, that's right. We was keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gaff, obviously. But we never thought no one was gonna come out of the back room like that. Back room being the pawnbrokery storeroom. Yeah, that must be where he popped up from. Only place he could have been. So it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises. Which means Ginny must have been in there at the point as well. But that doesn't make sense. Does it? If Gina had threatened Mr. Windibank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived? Oh, I don't know. Did you see the accused at the time? What, that mall tour? Couldn't tell ya. No way, Cover. We had bigger fish to fry then. The old geezer just lost it. Okay.
Hold it!
You mentioned that Mr. Windibank shouted those words in your previous testimony, too. However, you claimed that you heard him yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door. Oh, did we? But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Well, yeah. Was the victim Mr. Windibank wielding a gun at the time? Was he ever? Blimey lummy, a great ugly barrel he had pointed straight at me frontispiece. So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windibank with a gun at the time, is that right? It is, Gov, it is. Spot on. Then all of a sudden, he came at us, he did. It was bedlam. I didn't know who was going for who. You were clearly all going for each other. Like Nash said, we thought we'd had it. Okay.
Hold it!
Yes, I noted that you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony, too. Well, yeah, of course we did. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot. That got tangled in some marionette, that what knocked over a picture frame, what knocked them scales on the floor. So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter. Well, Big Bruv here went flying over that counter like a gunshot, I can tell you. Then the old geezer pinned him. He did, Nash, he did. If you hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened you like a bloomin' pancake in seconds. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station.
Oh god. Easy.
Via a secret cable from the pawnbrokery. There is a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right, when the brothers fled the scene and back into the street, they ran straight to the arriving police, didn't they?
Poor Mr. Winterbank, he did everything he could to protect his shop.
Pull me gun and then lighted through the door in the back room.
Hold it!
Were you intending to shoot Mr. Winterbank? Nah, never. I was just, you know, looking out for me, bro, weren't I? He was being flattened, don't forget. By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes. And then, the man fled into the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. He showed me a way, then ran off through that door and shut himself in. There's something about that last remark. Something that doesn't quite ring true.
I wonder why Mr. Winterbank ran away into the storeroom.
What?
Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with a gun.
Yes, that's right. Gina allegedly used Mr. Winterbank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Winterbank's hands again?
I have no idea, but that is strange, isn't it?
This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it. Look, the point is, me and me bruv here. That's right, Nash, that's right. Me and me bruv here. Okay, there's something there.
Hold it!
You say I had nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Nothing good, nothing. The old geezer went and shut himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked it was, from the inside. We know it was because we tried to open it. But it's a decent door, that one. Good and strong, wouldn't budge an inch. So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. It would indeed appear so. What say you to that, counsel? I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could possibly have shot Mr. Winterbank? There could have been. I'm gonna save though. Hee hee. Mr. Skulkin. Hey, what? What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you'd encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely. You did? What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Winterbank? And it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this plan of the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, You must now provide answers to the court in respect of 2 conundrums. 2, my lord. Twice as many chances to be right, maybe? Indeed, namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time? Alright. Understood, my lord.
Are you alright, Bruno?
Not entirely sure, but there's one thing I'm sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely. So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun. I guess like right outside the door, right? Right here.
I'm gonna say this in case though.
Take that!
The defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. And in answer to the second question, assuming the culprit fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time? Right here.
Take that!
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Windibank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom. Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony, I pulled me gun on him, and he looked through that door. If Mr. Windibank ran away through the door, we have to assume that the door was open at the time. It was at precisely that moment when the victim was fleeing for his life that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Is he forgetting that there's a little, like, peephole there?
Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said this side for trial?
Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard, he was shot from the back, rising diagonal. So from the bottom up. Shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Oh.
Poor man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety.
Ah, of course. He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. But even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered his body on an upward trajectory.
So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windibank.
Objection!
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock? But... What if someone else locked the door? Yes, there is someone else who could have locked the storeroom door. Is that so? Very well then, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom. In which case, who shut and locked the storeroom door from the inside? Gina.
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
That's absurd. Oh wow, he's taken aback. This is new. Saving it for posterity. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room. For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I am inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel? Yes, that's a tricky one, isn't it? Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please.
But of course Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it?
It does.
Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they?
Oh yes, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Mrs. Stroud and Mr. Windibank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Windibank must have heard the intruders breaking into a shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windibank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment? I see where you're going with this. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windibank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it, in order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't, Gov, we ain't. You gotta believe us. Come on, we never should know one.
Objection!
That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There is only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windibank's murder. What you got to say to that then, huh? Wait, where does this leave us?
You mean to say it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker after all?
I should have known it was those three brothers. They look as shady as a dense forest. Three brothers? Hold on.
That was amazing, Bruno. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now.
I know, first time ever, and probably the last.
Well, I think you've done it. Surely you'll have to give a verdict of not...
An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? He's laughing. You find a situation amusing, Lord Van Zeeks. I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive. I dare say. Such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial eastern nation. But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pettifoggery here. What? The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly credibly cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failing? I say, Lord Van Zeeks, might be an idea to explain this bally conjuring trick or whatever it is to the troops on the ground, The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. By George, count bullets!
Oh dear. He noticed then.
Huh? What's everyone talking about? Come on, Ryunosuke, even... She got it. Counsel? Yes, sir. Tell the court how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime. Two. 2 bullets. Correct. The first that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene. Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike the calendar. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windibank, and the Skulkin brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these 2 brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness, I think you'll find that if the single bullet that was fired from the brothers' gun hit Mr. Sholmes, it means Windibank not shot by the same gun. Stop. Only 1 bullet. Stop. Exactly. Yes, this Nipponese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick, with no hope of standing up to scrutiny. Order! 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 Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hallowed nectar into the public gallery. Lord Van Zeeks. But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can, regrettably, no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with criminal conduct. Okay, but that doesn't matter in this case. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question with loathsome intent. As you can see beyond doubt in this print, which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. And I have here in my possession 1 more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. That disc. I'll be taking that disc. Boo-hoo. Yes, that music box disc. McGilded's music box disc. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Windibank, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Good gracious. Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would not stoop if pushed, no crime she would not commit. She's just a child. The court forgets that fact at its peril. I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc in the evidence council as a grim testament to the defendant's character. Lord Van Zeeks, Inspector Gregson. What? Yes, Inspector. We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and, I think it was agreed that the disc wouldn't be used as evidence. What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting strangely? That's the first time he said anything to Van Zeeks at all. I am unaware of any such meeting. But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent. Oh. Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord. Indeed. Bailiff? Okay. Prosecution established the accused's motive, opportunity, and baseness of character. There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. Don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once for all of 5 minutes.
Oh dear, it wasn't even for 5 minutes, Bruno.
My lord. Wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about in a bit of a fog up to now, truth be told, but all of a sudden, the answer's bally obvious to me and my men. There's only one thing for it. Oh no. Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
God damn it.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
We have a consensus among the jury, it seems. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth.
That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley.
Ugh.
How dare he use it against us?
Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. There's still more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. That's beyond any doubt. Very well. We will proceed with a second summation examination of the day. Oh, okay. The judge is like, we know you're gonna do this. Let's go ahead and do it. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Gyarados Squadron is primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty. Wait, I need to see this CD or whatever.
Oh, Bruno, look. This is blood.
Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but definitely wood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before.
Haha, then it's my time to shine again. I thought I'd be waiting forever. Alright, hold still with that disc, Bruno.
Can we get this done quickly, Iris?
In a flash.
Boom.
Ooh, a lovely bright shade again.
Wait, that color.
What is it?
It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? Hell yeah. Okay. I don't think there's anything else we can look here. Let's hear what they have to say. Once a rogue, always a rogue, I say. Different breed to us law-abiding citizens. As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth here. Every which way you look at it, it was at pickpocket. I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief. The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead. I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns. Okay. It would seem there is little remaining room for doubt. The fucking doctor is just muttering to himself, but okay. Have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chap in black. But when that fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I'd jolly well been hoodwinked. Well, no more. Ugh, the whole courtroom is turning against me.
It's not fair.
Iris?
That prosecutor's being mean. Just because Ginny's done something she shouldn't have done in the past, that doesn't make her a murderer. Allow me to savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the manor. Here's to the truth coming out, eventually. That's enough preamble. Council proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Ugh, okay.
Hold it!
Just because Miss Lestrade has a history of pickpocketing, she must be guilty of murder. Is that what you're saying? Ah, well... Are all members of the British Army so quick to judge? I beg your pardon. Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces, the greatest military organization in the world? No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier, or a pickpocket, is wrong and dangerous. Well, yes, might have a point there, I suppose. But let's not forget the girl had already shown she had it in her from before. She's clearly a criminal, sort through and through, can't deny it. When you say that she'd shown she had it in her, are you referring to this? Exactly. Try to swipe that only a day earlier, Or am I mistaken? Not exactly. Given that I was actually there at the time, it's hard to refute that. I've never actually seen the real thing. I can't wait to have a closer look at it. Oh yes, of course. We did, don't worry. Teehee. Oh, I miss him. You still don't know what tune it plays though. What tune it plays though, do we? But I'd love to see how the original compares to Hurley's copy. McGilded's disc. Could it be a clue somehow? Perhaps we should examine it in more detail. Already did, sir.
Hold it!
It's a number of bullets that has you convinced. Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlor maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. Well, that's logical, I suppose. Although... Yes? Sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like the fine china. Does your employer dine with thieves? So I suppose. If there was another bullet somewhere of which we were unaware, I'd have to reconsider my position. 3rd bullet somewhere on the scene. Could that be possible? On the scene. I don't think we have it right now. Because there's the bullet on the calendar. 1 in Mr. Windibank. Unfortunately, only 2 bullets were discovered by the police during their investigation. Yes, I know. Right. I don't imagine the good men of Scotland Yard would have overlooked anything. If I missed a bullet while I was cleaning his lordship's office, well... I should receive a sound scolding, I don't doubt. And he should receive a visit from the police, perhaps. It sounds like a crime scene to me. The 3rd bullet would completely turn things around if there was one, wouldn't it? Do you think we might find one lying around somewhere?
Hold it!
So if I've understood correctly, you need 2 pictures, a left eye one and a slightly different right eye one. Exactly. Then you can see the scene in 3 dimensions. Like this. So if we have 2 bullets, I don't suppose you can see anything useful with them? I think you'll find that no matter how much you squint, the truth of the situation always looks the same here. The only person who could have shot the victim is that girl in the dock. How can you be so sure of that? Think about it, the Skulkin brothers shot the great detective, didn't they?
Yes, that's been mentioned once or twice. Well then, surely it's coming to focus now, isn't it? Just a waste of time. I'm not going to change this man's mind anytime soon. Okay, interesting. Different guy we can't change the mind of.
Hold it!
Would you please stop muttering about things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here. Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that it's nothing to do with this trial, to be honest. Huh? I mean, there's no question that the man was shot, but the bullet has simply vanished from his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think? I almost don't want to ask, but this surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you were operating on...
What was the fellow's name now? Hairlick?
No. Hairlock? No. Hairlock? Hairlock Sholmes, by any chance? Yes, good lord! It was that Hairlock fellow! What? You're the surgeon that operated on Mr. Sholmes.
That's right. Using the very latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. It was a fairly major op, I can tell you.
This is crazy.
Let me see, the fellow was brought in not long after midnight, if I remember correctly.
They said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened it up like a shot.
But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find the bullet anywhere.
So I'm afraid I had to throw up my hands and just stitch the fellow back up. I hate to state the obvious, but... yes. Surely that's because the bullet is still at the scene of the shooting. The counsel for the defense is correct, as is clearly shown in this photographic print. The bullet that the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region, then exited his body and lodged into the shop wall where the calendar was hanging by the door. I think you'll find this really quite simple if you just consider the problem three-dimensionally. Ah, who do you think I am, son? Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do.
As soon as I saw the wound to the man's stomach, I flipped him over.
Like a pancake? Are you saying that you checked his vac?
Oh, of course I did, and there was no trace of injury. No sign that the bullet had left the body at all.
What? That's the point. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards. Which is exactly why I said about slicing him up. And I'm still none the wiser, even now. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve the mystery? It's almost as much of a mystery as how this jury was put together. Where's an expert when you need one? Well, I got an expert for ya.
Hold it!
What do you mean you're in for a busy day? Forgot to say, stop. Excuse me, stop. I'm a communications officer. Stop. A communications officer? Does that have something to do with sending telegrams? Everything from personal messages written by members of the public to the latest news in the capital. I convert all the messages into Morse code and tap it out to the entire world electronically. To the entire world. Thousands of miles of cable under the sea. Stop. Worldwide communication network. Stop. Information transmitted to and from all corners of globe. Stop. Ah yes. She was getting equally worked up about radio waves on her like before, wasn't she? I specialize in communicating information from government departments and newspaper offices. I see. I'm sure I shall have to wire the newspaper reports of today's guilty verdict later. So no sleep for me tonight, I imagine. Let's just finish the trial first, shall we?
Hold it!
I thought you were just a tourist. Good day. I'm visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. There's no way he's just a visiting tourist. So, you're a ballistics expert? Who knew? I have much experience with guns. Ah. I've lived through many, how do you say, extreme, violent bath of, no, blood of,
Ah, extreme violent bloodbaths, perhaps.
Ah, those. Extreme violent bloodbaths. English is very difficult tongue. Considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue. Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There is nothing I do not know. No mystery I cannot solve. He's very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure. But, if possible, please only in Russian language.
He's not very confident in his knowledge of English, though, is he?
No, still we should bear it in mind. He's our man if there's a mystery about guns or bullets. I got it. When you have eliminated the impossible, he said. But he hasn't. If we're going to fight back, we need more material.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other. Ooh, a ballistics expert. Pitting. P-I-T-T. On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes was shot. Juror number 6. Hello, my name is Villain. Pleased to meet you. There's apparent contradiction in the facts that is so clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen very similar situation in Motherland. It was night. There was blizzard. I was wandering away along mountain road in freezing cold. Golly. The snow was piling high on both sides of road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles and they were on dog sleds. Mental note, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind and I fell down in snow. And this situation was very similar to what I hear today from Doctor. They could not find bullet in my body. And no sign of, how do you say, exit wound. Then where'd the bullet go? Bullet never hit me. Well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down? Bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side. What? One small piece, very sharp, broke away from lump of ice and pierced my body. It made deep wound that looks just like bullet wound. Good gracious. Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside me. And that is solution to mystery of disappearing bullet. But that doesn't answer the question at all. The shooting happened in a pawnbroker's shop. Not some snowy mountain road in another country. Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here.
Bruno, where exactly was Hurley shot again?
Well, according to the report, in his stomach. Sort of around this area, I think.
Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt.
A pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that.
Yes, a pouch. It's where he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations.
What? Really? Doctor, where's the pouch that Mr. Sholmes was wearing? Well, the fellow had nothing like that in his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks. While I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination, I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. Sorry? As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes is injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Ah, Thank goodness. I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then, it has been in my safekeeping along with all other evidence relating to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Very well. While extremely unconventional during a summation examination, I must demand the prosecution present the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Herlock Sholmes' pouch. Why does he have glass vials in it? I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on the night in question, is it? Look at that. One of the files is broken and the leather around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded. File? I thought it was vial. Exploded. So that night, the bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun struck Mr. Holmes' pouch. It was the glass vial exploding that caused the fellow's injury. This bullet did not penetrate victim, but was deflected into wall of shop. A delightfully complex aroma. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least, though it has no bearing on the truth of this case. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective, and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered. Ugh. But at least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man. Thank you very much. Glad I could help. Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will sequester this scruffy pouch as evidence. Hallie's pouch isn't scruffy. Did you make it for him? Now the summation examination. Would appear the defense is somewhat struggling to alter opinion, Please, my lord. A little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. It could be a valuable clue, and you can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryunosuke. There's still a way to turn this around, somehow. I'm sure of it. Let's look at our... Who's... Oh look, there's a hole here at the back. Doesn't look much like a bullet hole, but clearly something's ripped through the letter with great force. Something must have pierced it somehow to have left this hole behind. Yes, it looks that way. Mr. Sholmes and his pouch both took a beating, didn't they? It's really scorched badly just here. Oh, the strap is broken, look! This must be where the bullet hit then. Let me see. Oh! Whoa, what the? Iris, look. Behind where the broken file was. Do you see it? Ah, that's the Skulkin brothers' bullet. What a stroke of luck that it hit this pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Windibanks that night. You found exactly what that juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet? It's time to press that juror again, I think. Fuck yes. Okay. That's a tiny-ass bullet. I guess I present the bullet? Okay, I can't present it yet.
Hold it!
Only 2 bullets were fired. Can I present it? Oh god, it's the bullet that was fired from the Skulkin brothers' gun the night of the incident.
Yes, so it turns out it never actually entered Hurley's body at all.
Thanks to the thick leather that pouch he was wearing, it saved him.
Hurley's always lucky like that.
Well, considering what he had to go through in hospital, I wonder how lucky he really was.
Oh dear, poor Hurley.
Consider my position. I can prove it! Allow me to show you then, the third bullet.
Take that!
Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windibank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired.
Hold it!
What is this new trickery, your Nipponese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet? It was locked inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch. What? This pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes' waist before he was taken to hospital. And since then it has been touched by no one. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin brothers that night? Yes, as your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print. Ah. Two guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence. Yes, that of Mr. Windibank and that belonging to the Skulkin brothers. An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. But that must mean... That's right. We now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. Until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Oh wow. Order! While this summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. By Jupiter! What? Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once. Okay, so is he still guilty then? Hold on. Witnesses. Governor, were you listening to proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination? We was, Governor, we was. Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A third bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? Make of it, Gov. I don't make nothing of it. Is it one of yours? Go blimey, Gov. Go blimey, not a chance. In that case, did you have an accomplice? What? What? Never. The Skulkin brothers work alone. It's just the 2 of us. That's our trademark. How soon we forget poor Sulky. Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The third bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it? Lummy, that's a Ned Scratcher. Counsel for defense? Yes. I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet and the mysterious missing firearm from whence it came. Thinking back over all the testimony we've been heard and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this third bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers. They had an accomplice. I'm gonna save just in case. Hee hee. They alluded to it anyways. On that night at Winterbank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a third man. And the witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice. But the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present, someone carrying a gun.
Objection!
Who gives him these wine bottles and glasses? An accomplice, you say? Pigswill. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations. Yet in all that time there has been not a murmur of a third man. This apparently wraith-like being exists. The court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. The prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, the identity of this spurious character. Skulkins are lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding? Well, counsel? I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice and reveal the person's identity even. In response to the prosecution's demands, my lord, the defense is... We have evidence. We're using blood samples. Defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands. So, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting. I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference. In that case, counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene? This. Or should I show the... Yeah, I guess I'll just show this.
Take that!
The evidence is right here in this portfolio. By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? Do you expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of those blood samples proves the presence of this third intruder. Well, which one is it? This one?
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar. That's a blood stain, my lord. A blood stain? Green blood. Curious, even for you. It's the court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature. It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. The great detective! New invention? Stop. Not yet appeared in stories? Stop.
It's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fungus displays a chemical that reacts with different elements in people's blood to change its color.
Different elements of people's blood.
Yes, everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is.
Ooh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom? Stop. Very exciting? Stop. Uh-oh. Are you in a blood play? No. No! I put that idea into my head. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Winterbank. Ah, a striking blue. Yes, so you see the green color of this blood stain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop. Now hold fire there, young man. Could be from some unrelated incident, couldn't it? No, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windibank was killed. By golly. Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot in the same day. Then whose blood is it? Well, the Skulkin brothers in the sand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else. The third intruder, in fact.
Objection!
Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder? Mr. Eggs Benedict himself.
Take that!
The man's name is Eggert Benedict. Eggert Benedict? Who on earth are you talking about, Counsel? He paid a visit to Windibank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place, when the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Eggert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. Broker! Yes, sir. Give me the fucking thing. It's mine. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc. Can you corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Windibank for a print shown to fellow. Taken from one of his red-handed recorder governances. Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Windibank that morning. And he claimed this man is the brother's accomplice. Well, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin? Never seen the geezer before in me life. On me life, Gov, on me life. Never seen him. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can. Then show us the evidence. I agree. We must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm going to drag it kicking and screaming into the courtroom. Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel? Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof the man pictured in this photographic print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet. The blood samples.
Take that!
That proof is right here in this portfolio. Good gracious, counsel, does that portfolio contain the answers to every question posed? I see you share my interest in claret-colored liquids, my Nipponese friend, but... Enough. The court demands to see further evidence. Which blood sample proves the man you identified was the one shot by the third bullet at the scene of the crime? This one.
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Windibank's, which is when the aforementioned Eggert Benedict appeared in the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no? That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred. Give me that fucking disc! It's mine! Resembling a music box disc, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. Those protrusions cause Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now. Goodness, a bloodstain, is it? My assistant and I have just analyzed the bloodstain here in this very courtroom.
Using my trusty fogger gun.
Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. I say, it's green! Exactly the same color as the blood on the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Eggert Benedict, who was in Windibanks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. So there was someone else there. Look at those two brothers now. They're sweating buckets. Oi, who are you talking about? It's boiling in here. My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Eggert Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify. Would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
This has gone on long enough now, this flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes, a god of detection and some such. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court of the land. Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here's you're successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same color. Well... And pray, do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. Is he right? Is Mr. Sholmes' concoction a load of rubbish? I don't know. I mean, he's a great detective. What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with that. I knew it would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. But what other choice did I have?
I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the summation examination. In other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it?
Good grief, what did you just say, young girl?
In a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now.
Yes, she's right. Young lady, you have quite a devious mind.
It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runo. Is that about right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something?
Unbelievable. Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with.
Iris Wilson, sharpshooter.
After that shrewd preface of the situation from an entirely unexpected source, it must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings in this matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
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 Interesting.
Not guilty.
It's not a consensus. 2 call guilty and 4 call not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination.
Objection!
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds? If these jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zeeks, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue. Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible. What? The name the gentleman gave for himself, Eggert Benedict, is quite clearly false. I don't believe it. Just when I'd managed to prove the man was there that night. Could I say something? Who was that, please? Who spoke? It was me, my lord. Juror number 5. What have you to say, madam? If possible, Inspector. Me, ma'am. I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again, the one in which the gentleman is shown. Ah, right, yes, this one you mean, of Mr. Benedict. Yes, there's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5, you don't mean to say. Do you know this man? Yes, I know him. What? No. Good gracious! Order! Juror number 5, how on earth? I am a communications officer. Stop. As we can clearly see, the gentleman in the photograph is... Stop. Also a communications officer. Stop. He works in my office. Stop. A very talented operator, in fact. Stop. He should be in the communication station now. Stop. Tapping away on the telegraph. Stop. This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. I suppose we all imagined the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he has a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night. Yes, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt something was wrong. If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zeeks, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements with all haste, as your lordship bids. The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson? Yes, my lord. I should like to hear from you specifically about events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m. Oh god, okay. Respite. Gina, how are you holding up? Starting to feel quite warmly towards her frequent cold shoulders now.
Ginny? Are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything?
What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me?
What?
Well, you saw it. The picture. What picture?
Ah, you mean this? The photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder. Well, I didn't think you would have captured a scene like this, that's for sure.
It's hopeless. Anyone who sees that's gonna think I did it, ain't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to the court. Surely you've gotta have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can.
Ginny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night.
Eh?
Bruno's cleverly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you.
Alright then. It was after we'd had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Then we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. Oh my, we're finally gonna know what happened? After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. So I slipped out and went down the street to 201, to Windibank's place. I had to know if Iris' story was there or not, the Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about or nothing. But if you ask me, there's something that Sholmes don't like. Something what he don't want people reading. So that's why he lied to Iris about sticking it in lug with Windibank for safekeeping. At least, that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Windibank's. I had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all of that was gonna kick off, did I? Struck the lock and snuck inside. It was as dark as you like in there. So I gave the oil lamp on the counter a bit of wick, and that's when... What do you think you're doing? Ah! I nearly died, I did. And next thing I knew... I grabbed the gun off the counter and was waving it in the air like, I don't know what. You're the girl who was in here this afternoon. I didn't think a pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The mental script. Have you got it, dear? Did Sholmes leave a load of papers with you? A story? I beg your pardon? The Hound of the... something or other. If it's here, I want to see it. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyway? I just want to see its ear, that's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sholmes really pawned the ear or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you? So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door and we both went inside. And it was there alright, the mental script. Sholmes weren't lying after all. I did all that just to check for me, Ginny. Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick-up out there. Kick-up out in the main bit of the shop. The Skulkin brothers arriving on the scene, yes. What was that noise? Someone's breaking in. Dear me, is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me. Sorry. Better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh, well, I'll come with you and... Now don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of me hands and walked back out into the shop. I hung back in the storeroom like he said, straining me ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help, see? So I was just about to go out to the storeroom myself when... 2 shots? I heard a couple of shots go off. 2, I think. Almost at the same time. And then there he was, right at my feet, lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it. Slammed it, shut and lock it quick as you like. Because you thought whoever had shot Mr. Windibank might come for you. Yeah, so I went to grab the old cove's gun. I figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew...
Windibank was a goner. Felt funny in me head all of a sudden, kinda dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. Oh, she fainted. That must be when you passed out, Gina. If I hadn't done what I'd done, your cove might still be alive. You tell the police everything you just told us. Of course I did, but they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was if I kept telling lies, it'd make things even worse for me. You'll be alright, Ginny. Don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Bruno's about to put the real culprit through the mill. That cove was there in the afternoon. That Egget Benedict. Still remember how he looked at me like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty. You what? You can leave it all in Runo's capable hands now, Ginny. Mr. Nara Odo. Yes? How come you trust me? I don't get it. I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and McGill did. We told you a whole pack of lies. And you got the bog trotter off with him, even though he was a killer. No, I could never forget that. Oh. I did what I thought was best at the time, but the pain of that era of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what. But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another killer off the hook, for all you know. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in the trial. Twice, actually. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. And strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who'd done it. Oh, Runo. But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. My best friend. Oh my god, the theme! Ryunosuke, no one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me and I'll do the rest. I was so happy I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute, unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute, unwavering belief in him. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first. What are you saying? I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. Even though I'm a diver, the no-good liar. You're not like McGill did. I know that. Eh? That's right, you're our friend, Ginny. Iris. We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust. Yes. That's really all we need to know. Exactly.
Mr. Naruto, I... Defendant Gina Lestrade, her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please enter the courtroom immediately. Yes, of course. Thank you. Oh, she's crying. Alright. We'll end it here.